Oh,
My audio, I am speaking level that I hope is proficient.
Yeah, I think it's fine. You don't sound low like you did that one time, so I think we're good.
Hey guys, I'm looking for my headphones. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah?
I'm
Oh,
gonna go.
no, not really.
Wow,
everybody's
you both
The
jumped
here.
on at the
gang's
same
all
time.
here. The gang is all here.
You guys are like so amazed that everybody's here.
Uh, yeah, we won't get into that talking point, Sharif.
Ugh.
Okay, so I can take out so and so will be joining us later out of my script.
Hey, Johanna, do I need to, you're gonna like dictate the questions to us, right? So I don't need the agenda like in front of me.
No, it's pretty simple, you guys. There's a warm up about like panels and first cons. Then there's like the meat is like the crazy con stories and the cosplay contest.
Okay.
So it's first con you've been to, best panel / celebrity encounter, and then that's it because we took out one of the questions, and then crazy con stories, and then cosplay contest. So
Sounds good to me.
yeah. Oh, and Sharif is going to talk about C2E2, which sounds like the name of a Spanish dish.
It might be. They might have stolen it.
C2E2. Let me set a timer too.
Hey Joe, how do I sound?
Say a full sentence.
I'm looking for my headphones and I still haven't been able to find them, so I'm wondering how I sound without them.
Yeah, you sound a little far away and a
And
tiny
fuzzy.
bit muffled.
Yeah.
Sound like you're in a tunnel.
So it sounds bad. I mean, like.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm getting a little bit of crackle too. So
Crackle?
like just once in a while, I'll get a crackle.
What does that mean?
Like you know the Rice Krispies?
I know what a Rice
Crack
Krispie
pop.
crackle is.
Yeah, like that. Once in a while, I get that noise in my earphone.
You think it's my fault?
Yes.
So like
Definitive.
you're hearing specifically crackle. It's not snap or pop. Like you can tell.
I was thinking of that, Sharif. I was like,
Look, someone's eating Rice Krispies here, but they're eating them in an inappropriate way because there's no crackle. There's no snap and pop. Yeah. Wait.
snap and pop. That reminds me of you ever seen the movie Money Talks?
Yes.
With Chris Tucker when he's
Yeah.
in the car with Charlie Sheen. He's like, "Don't mess with me, man. Don't mess with me, man." 'Cause my friends call me Snap and Pop because I will snap and I will pop you in the ass, something like that.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
And those are pretty good, and they have no nutritional value. But I also like bran flakes, so. You know.
Hey guys, just a quick FYI. If I go mute, well, I won't go mute mid-sentence, but if I go mute at any point, it's because I'm feeding and burping this 2-month-old. So at the same
Oh,
time while we're doing this,
Oh, it's
just
all
FYI.
good. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
the rules don't apply to you, buddy.
Yeah. Because then we can see the mute signal on your your screen. So.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. I'm riding solo tonight. My wife went out to dinner with a friend of hers, and there's an accident on the highway, so she's stuck in traffic.
That's so nice of you, though.
Yeah, I try. Yeah. Build up points.
To redeem them at some other point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is what it's about.
That's all it's about. You think we're nice guys? No, 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 no. We're just preparing. We're just preparing. I'm just preparing for when Mad Max drops.
Oh, I want to see that so bad. I really do. Like this
I'm
movie
gonna
was
let you
made.
guys tell me about it before I go see it.
Yeah, I'm not too interested. I do like the trailer, but I haven't seen anything about it that's really made me want to go see it. It's just a bunch of sand and a bunch of stuff blows up. Like
Yeah,
uh,
that's what I want to know. Johanna, Malik, you guys go see it first, and then you come tell me about it. And then if you're disappointed, then I won't be so disappointed because then I want to go see it.
I'll be surprised if I'm disappointed, just because I know I know what I'm getting. It's it's gonna be.
All right, I'm gonna have to go by Johanna's thing
Yeah,
because
because I mean, have you ever played the video game? I mean, it's first off, it's Mad Max, so
You
there's
guys
pretty
hear me?
much going to be Mad Max, what Mad Max is, and then secondly, if you ever played the video game Borderlands, it's probably going to be the same thing. So
Malik,
Hell
can you hear me?
yeah.
I can't
Love
imagine it.
Hold on,
Borderlands.
Lorenzo
Malik.
wants to test.
Malik.
Yeah. I can hear you, Lorenzo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hold on. Can you talk again?
Yeah, I was asking how it sounded. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I started to think you couldn't hear me.
Oh no. I mean, we can hear you.
yeah, but I think his next question is, does he sound good?
He sounds like a war correspondent, like calling into CNN.
For Christ's sakes. All right, I'm gonna hang up. and
You
call back.
do.
that's very specific.
That's what it reminds you of. It's like a
Just
now.
calling into CNN though, not MSNBC.
No, and not Fox News. Like specifically like a semi-reputable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's on like one of those big
Semi-reputable?
war phones.
Semi-reputable.
Is that any better?
That's a
Yes.
lot better.
Yes.
Way better.
All right, great.
Okay.
When did you want to start?
We were waiting for you.
So, like now?
Yeah.
It's already recording because we had kicked off. As soon as I kicked off the record, both you and Malik jumped on, so it was perfect timing.
Which thank all of you guys for being prompt. It's great because we can start now and it's 10:10. So we're doing good here. All right. Hold on. Let me just take a sip of water. All right. So I'm gonna start. All right. Hello and welcome to the Agents of Helm, the show where each week one of our agents moderates an episode based on a topic of their own choosing. My name is Johanna. Tonight it is my turn, and we are going to talk about Hit It, Sharif.
Cons!
Yes, we are going to be talking about. That was great. We are going to be talking about conventions. Whether they're Star Trek conventions, brony conventions, or hot sauce conventions. Maybe not that last one. Not tonight. These are the spaces where fandoms put on sexy costumes, spend way too much money on die-cast figures of Totoro, and stand in line for hours to berate the directors of their favorite shows about how bad the latest season was, like someone I know, Lorenzo. So first, I'd like to... So first, I'd like to introduce the agents. We have Lorenzo.
Hey there, Johanna.
There's Joe.
What's up, people?
There's Malik.
Hey, it's not Monday, but I'm gonna say it anyway. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day happened. It happened.
Cinco de
people.
Cuatro.
Exactly.
We got McKenna.
Hi.
And we've got our special guest tonight, who is a Helm veteran and podcast rock star, Agent Jackson. Sharif's co-host of the Operation Cubicle podcast and makes the rounds on several other podcasts, including ours. Sharif, why don't you introduce yourself to the newbies?
What's up, noobs? Prepare to get pwned. So I do Operation Cubicle. I do science blog, Science Looks Good, video game blog, Gaming Looks Good, and Operation Cubicle, as Joanna said. So check it out.
Sharif, you're sounding a little muffled to me, but maybe now I'm being totally paranoid. Do you guys hear it too?
Yeah, I kind of hear it too.
Yeah, you did come in kind of muffled.
All right, I will try to adjust. Real time, does this sound better?
Speak a little bit again.
Hello, 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 hello.
What do you guys think?
Sounds fine
Maybe
to me.
if you like just keep as you adjust it, just keep talking.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Hello,
Okay.
I'm talking, I'm talking, I'm talking, I'm talking.
You disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'm adjusting the volume.
Yeah, so that was too low. It seems like it's not the volume though. It seems like it's it's like you're hot, but it doesn't sound like the volume's too high.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be. I mean, I recorded a show last night and the audio came fine, so maybe
Do
it's
you
just
wanna
some real thing.
do you wanna try maybe turning unplug signing off and then signing back in? That's what I did.
Yeah, I can try that again. All right, I will do
That's
that.
what Sharif had to do earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, he already did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
This has been a
did it work
sound.
last time?
It did. And he sounded fine, and then I don't know what happened. They reverted back.
Johanna, I have a question.
Mhm.
So, does the you said hot sauce conventions might not count, but like what about like RV conventions, car conventions? Do those count?
Yes. I mean, I think I was thinking more in the geeky vein, but what the fuck not? Why the fuck not? What is wrong with my mouth today?
Yeah. So, because like I went to a car show I've been to a couple car shows. I've done that, and I was wondering if that counted because I hadn't even thought about my car show stories, or I went to the Home and Garden. I don't know, is that a convention?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Let's do this. In fact, I want to do the intro over again. So I'll take out the well, maybe not tonight, and just say hot sauce conventions.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I've ever been to a hot sauce convention.
I was supposed to go, but my mother-in-law had that stroke like right before. But I was planning to go to a hot sauce convention like last month.
And then also, like, what exactly strictly defines whether or not it's a convention?
All right,
'Cause
we're getting a little meta here. So I want you to think about these questions as they inform the answers that you will give during the rest of the show.
What does that mean?
You're getting way too meta, okay? Like, come on, you know what I mean.
No, the reason why I ask, I guess, is because I have like ideas for other things that could, like for example, there's the Poteet Festival in Poteet, Texas, where it's all strawberries. You could call it a strawberry convention, maybe.
Okay, like what I'm asking you to do, if you have a crazy story about the Poteet Festival, go right ahead. If that's the first con you've ever been to, like, talk about it. Best celebrity encounter was when you found, like, that beautiful ripest strawberry. Awesome. Like, just like, I don't think that having a metacognitive conversation about what a con is, like, is going to move us forward with this show.
Wow.
What?
It just seemed a little harsh, but okay.
How is that harsh? I'm saying, like, you can talk about
Johanna did the right
things.
thing. That's what was needed. That's exactly what was needed. So let's go.
Falling into this jackass trap.
Hold on. You're the jackass, or it was set by a jackass?
Set by a jackass.
What?
Do
Okay,
jackass cons count, Johanna?
You guys, we need to get back on message, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we waiting for Sharif?
Sharif is
No,
right
he's
here.
back.
He's been here.
Why aren't we testing out his microphone?
Hi.
Because you're being a
You're
jackass.
I'm
Hello.
I was just asking some questions. Oh my God, Johanna, you need to chill out. You're getting on like a power trip now. You lost your mind.
That's
Jackass.
totally unfamiliar to you.
Fine? Do I sound fine, you jackasses?
You sound great, I think.
Because I just tested this in another application and it sounded fine. So if it's still muffled, it must be Google Hangouts itself.
Yeah, chances are it probably is Google Hangouts. I mean, that would be the only way to explain why dropping off and coming back on would work.
Yeah, because I don't know what else to do.
Oh, maybe
No.
maybe just speak up.
He sounds. I mean,
He sounds fine.
Yeah, he sounds fine to me now.
Like right then, you were speaking up a little bit louder, and I think normally you talk a little lower, and I think speaking up helps. Because I did notice that was the thing that I was worried about, was that your levels seem lower than everybody else's. So I remember when before Johanna said anything, I was thinking that when we edit it, we're gonna have to boost your levels up, and I was wondering, like, because then you got to think about like putting everybody else's levels down or just going high for everybody. So
Yeah,
I think
I know what
if you speak up, it'll help.
Yeah, I mean, I lowered it because I was peaking before, and that was the muffled sound. So, okay, all right. Well, I will talk at this level right now, if that's okay.
That sounds great.
Jackasses.
I love how you walked in on that, like, jackass conversation.
Everybody except McKenna is a jackass.
Thank you.
She hasn't been with us
Why
long.
I don't know why she gets special treatment, Sharif. You
Because
know
she's
that's
giving the
She hasn't been
thumbs
with us
up.
long
Like
enough.
every time I look at that thumbs up, it puts me in a great mood.
Oh, see? I'm just special. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm in my bra on that, right?
Oh,
You're
I
in your
didn't.
bra in that?
Are you and
did
your
not
bride?
hear
I
that.
just thought it was a tank top, man.
No, I had just done the ice bucket challenge. So
We're
I was
gonna
in
have
a
a
sports
spike
bra.
in our YouTube.
I know, seriously.
Viewership.
Thank you, McKenna. Thank you.
And yes, we are available on YouTube. That's how we record the show. You can always check out our raw episodes, at least for now. I think we should shut that down. Don't you guys think that, like, showing our unpolished product is maybe not?
We could just set them to private.
Can we talk about this another
Yeah,
time?
seriously. Okay. Like, Lorenzo, like, simmer down.
Baby.
Oh, you guys can hear that. Sorry.
It's okay. I don't think any of us mind the baby. It's not losing it or anything.
You may mind when he belches in the.
All right. So
I'm
I
trying
hope
to keep
you.
it as far away from as possible. Though.
Oh, the baby. Okay, so I want to do the intro all over again so that Sharif's cons is a little clearer now. And then we can just move into where we left off with Sharif, where he was plugging his projects. That sound good, you guys?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's con some cons. All right. Hello and welcome to the Agents of Helm, the show where each week one of our agents moderates an episode based on a topic of their own choosing. My name is Johanna. Tonight it is my turn, and we are going to talk about... Hit it, Sharif! Yes!
Even better the second time.
We're leaving that in. Yes, we are going to be talking about conventions, whether they're Star Trek conventions, Brony conventions, or the Petite Festival with the Strawberry Convention. These are the spaces where fandoms put on sexy costumes, spend way too much money on die-cast figures of Totoro, and stand in line for hours to berate the directors of their favorite shows about how bad the latest season was like someone I know, Lorenzo. So first, I'd like to introduce the agents. We've got Lorenzo,
Hey there, Johanna.
Joe,
What's up, people?
Malik.
I still want to go to a bad porno con.
Great
Is
intro.
there such thing?
I'm sure there is. There's got to be one. There's got to be
No, I
one.
mean, there's
Good
such
one
thing as
does
a
that.
bad porno con, is what it
Yes, it's got to be.
Yeah. Cheesy porno.
Yeah,
Big hair.
exactly. These are all things. They should be out there.
All right,
I'm worried
McKenna.
about your question, Joe. Of course there's going to be bad porn. Like, you think that all porno conventions are going to be awesome?
Speaking about conventions, McKenna
Hi.
has
I thought Johanna, I thought you were going to say, speaking about porno convention.
That's what I thought. I was like, I'm a little nervous.
No.
Why am I associated with this?
Because you're in your bra in that picture.
Oh my god!
That's why.
And yes, we do have a YouTube channel.
Anything! It's just the straps. My parents are never going to love me anymore.
That's what they always say. It was just a strap.
Oh my god!
None of us would have known.
There you go. It just looks like a tank top.
All right. Now I want to introduce our special guest. He is a Helm veteran and podcast rock star. It is Agent Jackson. Sharif is co-host of the Operation Cubicle podcast and makes the rounds on several other shows, including ours. Sharif, why don't you introduce yourself to the noobs?
Sure. I'm also wearing a bra, so you're not alone, McKenna. And I'm snapping the strap as we speak. And so you can check my stuff out at sharifjackson.com. That'll lead you to my science blog, my video game YouTube series, and you can check out my podcast at operationcubicle.net, talking about geeks of color in the corporate world. So thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking about the cons.
So I have a quick question, Johanna. So Sharif, how many times have you been on this on our show? Like at least a good handful, right?
Like 5.
Yeah, maybe
Okay,
5.
How come no one ever says Agent Jackson if you're nasty? Like no one's ever said that, and I think that it's the perfect. I mean, I think it fits perfectly. Every time someone says Agent Jackson, the words that come out of my mouth is if you're nasty, but nobody ever says that.
Because
Not
you're
one I'm
thinking
gonna say.
Janet Jackson all the time.
Of course.
Well,
So you're quick on the uptake.
I mean, I've definitely heard that, of course, several times throughout.
Yeah,
my
I'm sure you have, but I don't know.
Yes.
We just don't do that. So sorry, Johanna. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. So speaking of cons, you recently attended C2E2, and I was wondering if you could just share a few highlights from your time there. I know your wonderful Google Hangouts icon right now is of you at the convent. Wow, my mouth. The convention, and you're wearing a Star Trek outfit.
Yeah, so C2E2 is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. It's one of the bigger Comic-Cons in the country, actually. It's not as big as like New York or San Diego, but it's pretty big. I think it's definitely the biggest in the Midwest, which I guess isn't saying much, but whatever. And I had a great time. I mean, I'm not sure how much detail you want me to go in, but I did cosplay as a Worf from Star Trek, The Next Generation. I didn't do Deep Space Nine Worf. And I also didn't do the Klingon prosthetics for the forehead. I was thinking about it, but the stuff I needed kind of didn't come in time, so I stuck with the uniform, and I also had a phaser from the original series, which a lot of geeks called me out on. They said, "Oh, you don't have a TNG phaser," and I was like, "Oh, well, shut the fuck up." But yeah, no, I really liked it though. There was even they had part of this schedule that was dedicated all to Star Trek cosplayers, so I got to meet up with a bunch of Kirks and Picards and Geordies and Datas and all kind of stuff like that. So
And other Worfs too?
No, I was the only Worf.
What's the difference between what's the difference? What makes the Deep Space Nine Worf so special?
I mean, it's like a different, it's like a different color, and just like his personality is like a little different on that show. On Deep Space Nine, I think a lot of people are just in general like pretty it's like a more serious show,
right?
So it's not like a lot of Worf's like goofier stuff that he does on TNG doesn't really exist on Deep Space Nine.
Interesting. Yeah, I started watching that show. It's pretty good.
It's a great show. Yeah. So usually when I go to cons, I don't go to I'm not the type that goes and waits online for hours for the really huge panels, because I feel like that's taking away time from doing a whole bunch of other cool stuff where the line isn't that long. So I didn't go to a lot of the bigger panels, like they had like Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones was there. Haley Atwell from Agent Carter and Avengers and all that stuff was there. Ming-Na Chen from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they definitely had like some really big, high-profile stuff, but like all their stuff was like like you had to get there hours ahead of time and miss several other panels just to get into that one. So I usually don't do that. So I went to a lot of really cool panels, and I had some friends that were speaking on some panels, so I went and supported them. And I bought a whole lot of swag. That's usually my main thing about cons is there's like so many vendors there just selling just all kinds of cool stuff. You guys might have seen a couple of photos that I posted of like some of the stuff that I got. But yeah, I basically came home with an enormous bag. I'm very glad that I took the train because I live in Milwaukee and it's only like a 90-minute train ride from Chicago. So if I would have flown, I would have had to pay a hell of a lot of money to check the stuff that I brought through. So yeah, I had a great time. Also, I had some barbecue, which I enjoyed.
Sharif, did you only go for the one day?
No. I had a 3-day pass.
You did 3 days, cool.
Yeah. I took off from work on Friday and Monday. I went down
Sound like me. That's exactly what I
do. Exactly. I went down on a Friday morning because I had a friend that was on a panel on like Friday afternoon. On black girl nerds within the space. So I went to support them, and we just all hung out, and there was lots of alcohol, lots of barbecue, and lots of nerd
Awesome.
talk. So it was great.
What other outside of that panel? Which other ones did you attend?
There was a really good panel about it was like called Nerds for a Living, and it basically talked about how like people kind of took their passion of doing things like podcasts and blogs and like transitioned it into a full-time job. That was a very interesting panel that I probably learned the most from, because like you really heard a lot from people that are just like us, like they started out podcasting and they got the right like connections and the networking and stuff, and they ended up actually being able to transition it into something that worked for them. I also went to a panel on like how to manage like your brand, which is really important to me since I do like the shreefjackson.com and I got the hashtags and like all that stuff. So like it was like really cool stuff about like everything from like kind of like the traditional kind of like trademarking to like making sure that like that you pick something that's like unique enough that it's not too easy for other people to infringe without wanting to really. I went to a Scott Snyder Q&A panel, which was pretty cool because he was getting slammed for Batman stuff pretty much the whole panel, which is pretty awesome. And I'll say one of the more interesting ones that I went to was called Race Bending. So it was like talking about when like characters that are black in comics are white on the screen, or like a vice versa, and like when that's seen as a good thing and when that's seen as a negative thing. So like there were like some really good like discussions about like Michael B. Jordan as the Flash and like Idris as like a Heimdall, and why Ryan Reynolds was chose as a Green Lantern when like most people are like more familiar with the Black Green Lantern and like all that stuff. It was a really good discussion about that because like people freak out when they're like, oh my God, Ruin the Hunger Games is black, and oh my God, like Heimdall is black and all that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty cool.
Was Michelle Rodriguez a special guest? She should have been a special guest panelist on that one.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah. She has some problematic thoughts about that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the big question since Joe got a couple of questions. Were there any fights between Picard's and and Kirk's? And if
That's a losing battle for Picard.
That is a losing battle for Picard. I agree. I did not see that fight, but I did see a Lodicus of Borg.
Oh God.
I saw a Lodicus of a Borg attempting to fight Data. because it was like that scene where like Data kind of transports into the Borg ship, and he comes across him. So like he was trying to rescue him, and like a Lodicus was kind of fighting back. So I did see that kind of reenactment.
Nice.
But no, I did want to see like an all-out like captain's brawl. I actually when I lived in Philly and I went to Wizard World there, which was their big Comic-Con.
And that's
they
actually
had,
this weekend.
Yeah. A couple years ago, they had a Star Trek panel with like all the captains on it. Even from Enterprise.
So Scott Bakula was there?
Yeah, and like I don't know how he was even allowed on the stage. Like, he should have been, like, kind of like
That shit was
to the
bad.
side. But like no, I didn't get to go because like it was like one of those special kind of like ticketed events that was super expensive. But like I was like hoping that like one person would just say like the wrong thing and they would all just end up brawling on stage. Like I thought that that'd be pretty awesome, but didn't happen. Yeah, so yeah, I want a captain's brawl. That's what I want.
I definitely do too.
I keep imagining it as the like battle of the Jets and the Sharks, and like Patrick Stewart doing high kicks, and Kirk snapping.
I don't want them snapping their fingers with knives. I want phasers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want all kind of stuff.
So Sharif, real quick, who's the better captain, Kirk or Picard?
I would say Picard. Kirk got
That's the
too
wrong
much.
answer, Sharif. I'm sorry. Moving on.
I feel like this is its own episode right here.
Kirk is more interested in banging chicks than really doing the hard stuff. So, Picard.
All right.
So disappointed right now. Go ahead, Johanna.
Thank you so much for the rundown. You know what I found really interesting is you never think about cons, like especially comic and entertainment conventions, as providing these sort of panels about your brand and about podcasting, and that's honestly very interesting to me as we're coming into con ticket buying season, as stressful as it may be for New York Comic Con. So let's get into the brass tacks. Mixed metaphor. So I want all of us to talk about our first time, and McKenna can talk about how she still hasn't had it. So let's start with McKenna.
Well, I mean, that's it. I've never been. I mean, I've been to like conventions, but they're very boring conventions. I haven't been to like the kind of conventions that we are talking about this evening. But a lot of my friends have, and it's more like I just haven't because it hasn't happened yet, not because I don't want to or because I haven't or because I like don't have a desire to or anything. I definitely want to go. It's just the timing hasn't been right. And as Joe has pointed out, it might need to be this, or Johanna, actually, I was talking to you about this. It might need to be a New York first. But I mean, I'm from California and I never made the trek down to San Diego, so I'm a little disappointed in myself.
I'm telling you.
As am I.
Yeah, seriously.
I know. It is in my foreseeable future. It's just I'm serious. It's more of just like the timing has never been right. But all my friends go. My friends do cosplay. The whole thing. So it will happen. Hopefully, I will have my cherry taken.
You just have to wait for the right con.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm holding out.
No, I think it's, true love waits.
Exactly.
True love waits.
Wow, this is like con abstinence.
Curating.
Maybe you should go to like a furry con first.
Ah.
Or a brony con.
Yeah. And then you can come back and tell us about it.
You guys are so mean. Why did you say that to me?
There's nothing wrong with furry con.
No.
I mean, I've never been.
Hey, look,
I'm
we all
actually a
need
little
love.
intrigued by it, but
Are you?
yeah, you gotta be some kind of freak to get.
Joe loves cosplay. I mean, I think even more than some of us may know.
I love looking at cosplay, especially at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I didn't say you like dressing in cosplay.
Joe, I'm a little worried about you now.
Oh my God.
Am I gonna like, if I ever went to one of those, am I like gonna be afraid that like all of a sudden someone's head's gonna come off and it's gonna be Joe under there like?
No. He doesn't
No,
like
I'm not a
dressing.
cosplay dresser. See,
Like,
I would probably
likes
get
to
down.
watch.
I would get dressed like
Even
Sharif
better.
got dressed. You just put on the uniform but no mask.
Yeah.
See, I would probably do something like that, but in all the years I've been going, I have yet to do that. The
Okay.
furthest I go is a T-shirt. That's about
Okay.
it.
Yeah. All right.
But what's the
well,
fun? That's most of the fun, isn't it?
I
you
mean,
can
like,
have fun like without dressing up yourself, just seeing other people, taking photos with them and
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it depends on what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
it can also be massively expensive in some cases. Like,
See,
I was, yeah. I was
I'm
thinking
one of those people who like I go all out for like parties that like are just like birthday parties that are just like, hey, we're having like a 70s party, and I'm gonna be the one who shows up in like the Ferragamo gown that I got at the thrift store and a wig that I made. Like I'm that person, so if I go, I'm going full on.
How do you make a
Trust
wig?
me, at Comic-Con, you don't have to worry about being the only one dressed up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you'll definitely blend in. Like Comic-Con is like a big ass costume party.
Hell yeah! See, I'm stoked.
See, the
telling
only
you.
thing I think about if for dressing up to go to Comic-Con is like taking the train ride down there. Like you have to be in full costume all the way down there, and I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
People
On
have
con
seen
weekend,
worse.
it does not matter. On con weekend in New York, it does not matter. People know exactly where the hell you're going. They don't,
I'm not
they
hopping
don't
on the
say
Metro
run-
North
they don't say
in a
run to
freaking
you.
costume.
Yeah, I wouldn't hop on the Metro North in a costume. I'm not gonna front like I would do that. I wouldn't.
Yeah, by the time I get back to the Metro North, there's like hardly anybody from Con on the train.
Yeah.
You could just be like, I mean, you know, Spider-Man does it, Superman does it. They wear their costumes underneath their clothes.
Yeah, no, that's not happening either.
Wonder Woman does it.
Well,
I think
Joe.
Wonder Woman does it. I don't know what.
Yes.
I think, yeah. So Joe, how about your first con experience?
Okay, so my first New York Comic Con experience was in February of 2009 when they still had it in February. Yeah, I mean that day I only did the main floor. I don't think I attended any panels because I didn't know any better. I just walked the main floor and I was like, this is it. And it only had less than half of the Javits Center. It was like the first floor, like the show area, and then like the rest of it, and maybe part of that upper second floor. But it did not. It was not nearly as much. It wasn't the whole Javits Center like it is today. It was just a little section up top, and it wasn't even crowded. I was able to walk around freely and and not bump shoulders every 2 seconds with someone. Where now it's just unreal. You can't walk 2 feet without stepping on somebody's toe or bumping shoulders with somebody. So yeah, I miss those days. But and that's like my first adult Comic-Con. I went to a comic book convention as a young boy, as a kid with my dad. He took me someplace in Manhattan, I don't know where, and that's where that was the first time I met Adam West and Burt Ward, Batman and Robin from the TV show. I got their autographs back in like, I'll just date myself, like 1978 or something like that. And it was the first time I got their autographs, and then in 2012, I got their autographs again.
What did you do with the 2 pairs?
My father has the first pair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they are, but I know he has them because I saw them maybe like 20 years ago at the house. So I know they're in the house somewhere. But I'm not going to go looking for them. And then in 2012, Burt Ward and Adam West were at New York Comic Con, and I went and got their autographs again.
Yeah, no. I think that's actually how my husband met Stanley. His dad took him to a comic book convention or a comic book thing, and that's how he met him. And then, I don't know, he's just like one day randomly, like 2 weeks ago, I met Stan Lee.
I
So,
bumped shoulders with Stanley in 2012.
all right.
It was totally accidental. He was like, they were rushing him off the floor and off the main floor, off the showroom floor. And I was walking in one direction. I see all these guards surrounding him, and I just like got stuck in the middle, and we bumped shoulders. I really wasn't even looking at him. And then I turned around. I was like, oh, shit, it's Stan Lee. And then they rushed him off.
That's a good celebrity encounter, actually. Lorenzo, how about your first con?
Well, I guess it depends on what you consider a con.
Just
Oh,
pick
God,
the one that
he's
you
gonna
think
do
is
it
most
anyway.
appropriate. I know, and you're
He's
not.
gonna do it anyway.
We'll just, Lorenzo, you know what you should do right now, so do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Well, I'm just thinking because I've been to the New York car convention. That was the
Okay.
first time I was at the Javits Center.
Great.
Like, would South by Southwest count as a convention or
Definitely.
no?
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a convention,
Okay.
yes.
So then I used to go to that all the time, and that was the best. I've been to other conventions before that, other car show conventions like lowrider conventions, stuff like that. But yeah, South by Southwest was by far the coolest. It was just an amazing time. It's a combination of film and music, and so you can go inside and see all these panels about independent film and like just stuff you have to deal with when you're trying to get it in the business, and kind of like what Sharif was talking about. And then and they also had it for music too, and then there was just like these amazing shows, and I would get a press pass, and so I could just like skip past the line and just
Nice.
go up to the front and like take pictures and stuff. I don't know, that was really fun. But then I went to the New York Comic Con like 3 years ago. I don't know, Joe probably knows better than I do, actually. Yeah, because Joe is super into New York Comic Con. So that's why I was asking, because I mean, is that the theme of what we're doing tonight? Are we all about New York Comic Con?
No, it's not at all about New York Comic Con.
Because then, yeah, I've been to like all those. I've told you about those anime. I went to a lot of anime.
Yeah, no,
conventions
those
too.
count too.
Those definitely count. Yeah.
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 I hope that answered your question.
Ish, but I'm hoping that we'll get more information out of you about these anime conventions and such. But not right now. How about you, Sharif?
So the first cons that I used to go to was actually with my dad when I was really young. My dad has been a DJ for about 50 years to go to these record conventions, where there would be, like sort of like the panels and stuff. But the main thing that I remember was just these huge halls with nothing but records, nothing but vinyl, and it'd be nothing but people like my dad just going through these huge racks, just looking for those perfect vinyl things, either to sample from, because my dad was like really into early hip hop in the 70s and 80s, or just looking for old vinyl that he needed to replace, or like anything like that. So like we used to go to these record conventions in New Jersey all the time. I believe the one we used to go to, I think, was in Ramapo. I know there's a big one in Atlantic City that I believe is still going on to this day, but I'm talking about like back in the early 80s and stuff. As far as like I guess geek conventions and stuff, the first one that I went to, I remember, was like when I lived in New York right after college, and it was before New York Comic Con, because New York Comic Con, I just looked it up, started in about 07, 06. And I went to the one that was preceding that, which is Big Apple Comic Con, which was like at a church, I remember. And I went to that I moved to New York in 2004. So it was like in like 2004 or like a 2005, I went to that. And it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And it was huge, and like there were like all kind of stars there, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was like my first time kind of really just like seeing just like people just like unabashed about dressing up and talking nerdy stuff and all that kind of stuff. So after that, I remember trying to go to New York Comic Con in 2006, and it was like a mess. Like I don't even think I got in. Like the ticketing was all screwed up, and then I moved to Philly after that. So yeah, so the DJ conventions are the first ones that I recall.
I didn't even know there were DJ conventions.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
All kinds of
actually really
conventions,
cool.
Johanna.
Yeah.
Like, anything you can think of, practically.
Yeah.
No, I mean, anyway, I am glad to know about these DJ conventions. Yeah, I'm going to talk very briefly about my first experience, which was like 3 years ago. I went to New York Comic Con. I went on a Sunday, and I had Mr. Joe over here warning me. He's like, you got to plan. You got to plan. You got to bring snacks. You got to bring a backpack for this, and that. And I was like, Joe, it's a Sunday. It's going to be fine. And then I got there, and I was just like, this is extremely overwhelming, sensory overload. Like, I stayed for an hour. I stayed for a whole hour because I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't know where to go. Like, I hadn't brought water. I hadn't brought sandwiches or power bars or anything. And then when I talked to Joe the next week, see, I told you. So the next year I did follow his advice, and I had a much better time.
Joe, that story makes you sound like a jerk.
How does that make him sound like a jerk? He was trying to give me honest advice.
But he doesn't have to say "I told you so" afterwards.
But he did.
Nobody likes an "I
Yeah,
told
but
you
it,
so."
but it wasn't like that. It was like, see, Johanna, you should have listened to me. This is what you get. It was more like that. No, I'm joking.
This is what you get. It's like.
That's not making it any better, Joe.
No,
I've been hesitating to tell you that my
slightly. I teased her slightly, maybe, and that was about it.
It's okay because I needed to learn, and teasing was the way I learned. And this year, it will be even better. Except it will be like 100 times more crowded, so I'll have to learn some other coping mechanism.
Well, you must have learned a lot from me.
Must have learned what? Coping
Coping
mechanisms? Let's not even get into that. Let's go to Malik.
Yeah, my first my first convention that I ever went to was probably a PC gamers convention, back in probably '99 or 2000. So I know maybe some of our listeners may be kind of young. So the days of buying your own gaming PC from Best Buy, that shit did not exist back in 1999. 2000 probably didn't really start kicking off until maybe like 07, 06, 07 when I started really seeing the first gaming PCs. So if you wanted a gaming PC back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had to build that shit yourself. And if you wanted to build it yourself and you went to a store to try to build it yourself, you would get a whole bunch of aftermarket stuff that was really either too expensive or just non-compatible with anything that you were trying to do. So what you have to do is go to these conventions. And they gave these conventions on a relatively regular basis around the city. You'd go to these conventions, you'd pay like $10, and you'd go in there with people that have built their own gaming PCs, built their own high coolant machines or stuff like that, or selling parts to stuff. And so what I would do is go there and get a whole bunch of parts and bring it all home, build the PC. If I liked it, I keep it for myself. If I wasn't too crazy about it, I'd sell it. So I would.
Like a nerdy flea market.
It really is. It really is. And so that was probably the first con I went to. I went there for about the first 3 or 4 years. Eventually, it just got too commercialized and it got bigger than I guess it was to the point where people started like taking themselves too seriously and trying to charge all kinds of exorbitant prices. And then eventually, just Best Buy and Dell started just releasing their own gaming computers because they saw the market. So I haven't gone in a long time. But yeah, that was probably my first convention experience. Those are usually like just a day, not like for a whole weekend like other conventions. So they're usually just like from 8 in the morning until like 6 in the evening. And you just pretty much go around and you talk talk PCs, talk computers, computer gaming, all that stuff. There's all kinds of booths set up where you can, test games out. You can bring your own, like, you could bring your own, like, games and stuff like that that you wanted to put on the showroom floor. You just had to pay for your spot. Um, I did go to a comic convention a few years before my first New York Comic Con experience, just because a friend of mine he had done his own comic, and he needed somebody to sit on the panel and help give out stuff and like give out like buttons and stuff like that and sign people up so that you could send them free copies of the comic online. So I did do that, but that wasn't like New York Comic Con. It was a much smaller con directed towards black cartoonists. So those are the two early experiences with con before I started going to New York Comic Con.
I just realized something as you said that. New York Comic Con was not my first con. I was at a food conference, an organic food conference in the Bronx, and I literally ran into a Bronx comic book convention right next door to the organic food convention or the conference. So it was
I get emails for that all the time because I met the guy who runs it. I think his name is Ray Felix.
Oh.
Yeah, I met him at New York Comic Con.
And I mean, like Malik said, I mean, a lot of these smaller Comic Cons are really like cool and really great because you just like the ones I've been to. Usually, they're conventions for comic book writers of color, and it's all the stuff that you would never see about topics that aren't, like really appreciated by the mainstream. So, I mean, I've been to a couple. I went to that, and I went to one in Harlem last year, and they were both fantastic. And it's, I mean, quote unquote niche, but it's like you get to be acquainted with all these different comic book series and writers and illustrators. So yeah, so I think we've been warmed up, and now we're gonna get into the thick of it. Crazy con stories. This is I've heard a couple of them from you guys already, so I'm really looking forward to what we're gonna get out here. So think Joe told me a story today. So let's start with him.
You want to hear my Jason Momoa story? Is that it?
Your fake Jason Momoa story.
It's not fake. I met Jason Momoa.
Wait, I thought you were talking about Ruby Reigns or
no Roman Reigns. No. You said he reminded you when you saw the picture. You said he reminded you of Jason Momoa, and I said yeah. I met him at Comic-Con back in like 2011 or something like that. Whenever he did Conan, was Conan 2011? That's when I met him.
So this story is even better than I thought. Please continue.
Yeah. So so I go get it. I call my wife from Comic-Con, and I'm like, hey, you never guess who's here? Jason Momoa was here because my wife likes Jason Momoa. So I said, hey, he's here. You want me to get his autograph? She's like, yeah, get his autograph. So I go up to him. I get his autograph. I say, hey, can you write it out to Lydia? And he goes, and I don't know if he was high or he's just dumb or what. And he's like, are you Lydia? I'm like, no, I'm not Lydia. He's like, it would be funny if you were Lydia. And then he's like writing, and he looked totally. I mean, like, you see him on screen. He's always, obviously he's always got his shirt off and stuff. It was cool. He always looks kind of, looks like a warrior and stuff. But when I met him, he had like a bowler hat on, like this leather jacket. I mean, he looked high. He had his long hair. And he had like rings on every finger. It looked like. I don't know. But,
you sound like such an old man, Joe.
Those rings on his daggum fingers.
No, I'm just saying, like, they were like silver, okay, like, it just.
Marijuana.
He just looked weird to me. So he writes it out and everything, and he's like, "Here you go." I'm like, "All right, thanks," But yeah, he looked kind of. He seemed like he was high or he had been drinking or something. He seemed a little off. That's from a person meeting him for the first time. He may be like that all the time. Who knows? But no, it wasn't Roman Reigns, Johanna. It was really Khal Drago.
Oh man. Although this is very much actually, you know what? No, it's not destroying my image of Khal Drogo at all.
Joe,
The
that's a really
man.
good illustration of the importance of first impressions.
Yeah, definitely.
Good public service announcement to the kids out there.
All right, Lorenzo, what do you have? What do you got?
Oh man, I don't know. It depends. It depends. If you're counting South by Southwest, then it gets kind of crazy. Also went to
Do
a
it.
tattoo convention too. But probably, I guess the funniest story is. Hold on. What do we do? Are we talking about famous people we've met, or just funny stories?
Funny slash crazy stories.
Okay, funny. Yeah. All right. Well, then it's got to be the time that I sent my brother to the hospital at during a LARPing, like what would you call it? A LARPing panel?
A LARPing, like maybe like a exhibition demonstration. But
There
can
you
you
go.
explain what LARP is for people who aren't like at
Live
that level
action
yet?
role playing is what it stands for, but I don't think that fully like captures exactly what it is. At least not this part. I think this part probably has like an additional name to it, like a special name. But uh, yeah, it's when you fight with weapons, like like play weapons. They can
Like
still be pretty hard
LARPing,
though. Like they'll use like what's it called? PFC? No,
PCP,
P, not PCP.
PvP,
No,
PvP, Angel
PCP.
Dust.
I feel so stupid right now. What's it called? The plastic pipes.
PVC.
Yeah, PVC. Um, yeah, they'll use like PVC, which is pretty hard, and they pad it and stuff. And then they try to like, beat the crap out of each other. And they'll have these huge wars. Have you ever seen one of these wars? Sharif, you might have seen one of these.
Yes, yes, I've definitely seen them.
It's crazy. It's like from Game of Thrones when they talk about the like those big wars they have. I guess it's one of the things they do in the at the tournaments. It's like that. But what we went to was just like you got to for like a token you would get to be able to like actually fight against another person. And they had like it was like kind of like a live action version of Mortal Kombat. And and so my brother was coming to this thing. It was in Austin, and my brother was coming, and I started calling him. I was like, "You gotta come! You gotta come! You gotta come now!" And because I was so excited, this guy, my brother, has been beating the shit out of me since I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. Um, so like I finally saw this as my opportunity for some payback, and he finally gets there. He's with his wife and their and their two kids, and and I immediately grab him and I take him to this room where they're having these fights going on, and and I pay our like for our 2 tokens or whatever, and so we go into this ring together, and I am ready just to kick the crap out of them. Now, if you hit somebody, like they lose that limb. Uh, Correct me if I'm getting this at all wrong. Anybody that knows anything about this, but if you hit somebody, then they lose that limb. So if you hit them in the leg, then they
Yeah,
basically
this
have
is
to.
some like crazy LARP shit. You're like, I've never LARPed like that, but
Oh,
continue.
so you have LARPed then,
Oh yes, I've LARPed, yes.
but you've never gotten into combat.
Usually the combat is like you're rolling dice. You're still rolling dice. You're just wearing costumes and talking and like I don't think I ever played with the violent like
Oh,
things.
I didn't even know there was dice involved in LARPing. All I know is this violent side of it, where
Oh yeah,
you settle your beefs.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like
That's like a
yeah.
specific kind of LARPing where there's actually battle.
Yeah. Does it have a name, Sharif? Do you know?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. Anyway, so then, so me and him face off, and like it's basically like you have to you know get like a death blow on the other person, or they just have to surrender. And so we start to kind of fill each other out. We're circling each other, and take a few swings at each other. Nothing really sticks. And then he takes a swing at me, and I like dive in and I like hit him in his leg, um, which is enough to like now he has to be on his knees, right? And so then you know, we get into some more, and I'm like pushing my advantage, I'm pressing my advantage. So instead of like trying to like go in for the kill, I take his other arm out, and so now he's only got one arm, the one with his sword in it, and he's on the ground, like he's on his knees, and so like now he's like, you know, really kind of getting his he's kind of pumped up. He's got the adrenaline going, and you see it in his face. You know, his eyes are kind of they look really focused, and his cheeks are kind of red, and so like my plan is to, you know, because he's so like off balance, like I just needed him to get him to swing at me, right? And so like I kind of feint like I'm coming in, and then wait for him to swing, and he swings, I jump back, and when he swings, okay, so he was a wrestler when he was a kid. So not only did he beat me up, but he put me in these ridiculous like professional wrestling chokes, and you know, like the guillotine, and like full cradle, and all these, and the Harley Davidson thing that the Sheik I think did back then, and so he dislocated his shoulder in high school when he was a wrestler, and so he swings at me, and his shoulder totally goes out of the shoulder bone, or whatever happens when you dislocate your shoulder. He re-dislocated his shoulder, and so then he like rolls over, and he's howling in pain. Oh, but before he rolled over, like, and right after he dislocated his shoulder, I went in for the kill, and I hit him like really hard in the back, and then he fell over, and then I realized that he had dislocated his shoulder, and they couldn't get back in. And this guy comes over. He's like a security guy, right? But he's not, you know, he's like a mall cop. And I was there with an actual cop. And this guy like comes in, and he just like immediately tries to take control of the situation. And he's dressed like in fake military gear. It was like he was there as like a cosplayer, but he was actually the security. And so he was like trying to manage the situation. Like people are starting to crowd around. You know, he's trying to like figure out what they're going to do about the shoulder, and he can't. And I think at one point a guy comes and tries to like push it back in, and they don't do it. And so then my brother's like yelling more, and finally the cop I was with like steps in, and the guy's like, "Ma'am, please step back." And she's like, I'm an actual police person." And so then like we ended up like carrying him out of the room. Like it was funny because we had like a entourage of like security with us, and it was like he was some sort of celebrity or something, the way we like walked him out of the convention. Yeah, I might have said that he left in an ambulance, but I was exaggerating. His wife took him to the hospital, and yeah, and I still make fun of him about it to this day. He's okay now, though. He's okay. His arm was eventually put back in.
Thank you for providing that epilogue to this story.
Well, I know people worry.
No, I wasn't really that worried. It's a dislocated shoulder. It's not like you actually like cut his arm off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be telling that story if I had.
Oh, I would hope you would. I would hope you would, because that indeed would be a crazy con story.
Oh, that wouldn't be a con story. That would be like that one night when we were in
band camp.
No, I was gonna say the Valley, but yeah, no, not band camp.
All right, Sharif, I bet you have something real good up your sleeve.
Well, I didn't dislocate anyone's arm, so I don't know. I don't know how mine's gonna stack up now, but mine is basically. So I used to be a consultant, which means I would travel to different cities every week to do my job, right? So usually, if there was something going on in the city, I would try to do it. If it was in the evenings, I'd be in these different states and all that stuff. So there was one time that I was in Philadelphia, and this is before I lived there. So I was there for a conference, and at the same time there was a Comic-Con going on, like the same week.
Oh, it's awesome.
Basically, so I was like, I need to try to do both of these, but I can't let the people I work with know that I'm going to this. And I guess in retrospect, it probably wouldn't have mattered, but I kind of was like, oh well, they can never note my geek shame. Um, so like basically, I would go and I'd work in the office from like 8 to 5, and then I would like switch into this like geeky outfit, and then like it was like literally in like the conference center that was right next to the hotel that I was in. So like so like for like the whole week, my colleagues saw people kind of walking by in these suits, and like they were like, "What the hell is going on? Like those people look so dumb." And like I don't know what's like happening now. Like this was like 2005 or so. Um, so what happened was, I went, and I guess a photo of me ended up in one of the local papers. Like I was kind of in the background, but it was like clearly. So we were at like breakfast or whatever at this hotel, and and like you usually grab the paper, and I see myself, on this is basically the front page because like it was like big news of the city. So I was like, shit. So I had to basically I was the only one with a paper, so I basically had to hide the paper and make sure that they don't see it. Now, again, if I had more self-esteem, I probably would have been like, I don't care. Like as long as I'm doing my work, who cares? But I was definitely like, oh. So I hid it. I thought I got away with it. This was on about maybe a Tuesday. On Friday when I was flying out, I was in the airport with like one of the guys that he was like one of the younger guys, like one of like the cooler guys that I worked with, and like right before I'm about to get on the flight, he just leans over like, yeah, so I saw you in the paper, and I saw you trying to hide it during that breakfast. I didn't tell nobody though, and I was like, word, and like like he actually was like looking out for me. So yeah, it was like one of those times where I was a little worried that I was going to get outed as a total nerd, and back then I actually cared about that stuff. Now I'm like, yeah, here's my website, go to it. So yeah, that was probably like one of the weirder things that happened to me at a con. So sorry I didn't dislocate any limbs. I apologize.
I'm just disappointed. That's all.
Well, hey, Sharif, I wanted to ask you a question. Now that you mentioned that, like you said back then, you wanted to hide your nerddom, right? When do you think the switch flipped to nerds being cool?
Well, I don't know if it was as much as that because I didn't hide it around my friends, but it took me a while in terms of being an employee because I had only been working in corporate America for about a year, so it took me a while because like I thought to be recognized as a good worker, I had to like not show that stuff to my colleagues. But as far as when nerds became cool, I'm of the belief that nerds have never been cool, never will be cool. Some nerdy things are cool, like obviously like comic book movies and that kind of stuff, but there's still kids that go to school and get called a nerd, and it's not a cool thing. and it's still not, I feel like, socially acceptable to be too into this stuff. Like you can like Avengers, but if you like start talking to the average person about really detailed stuff, like they're still going to be taken aback by it. So I definitely think that there's a brand of casual acceptance of some nerd stuff that I say it became cool. It started like becoming cool. I would say the first instance is probably like Batman in 1989. Kind of
Was
slowly.
that far back, really?
I think so. I think like that was the first time where people like accepted that there was actually some deeper stories that can be told. I think another big milestone was Blade, which I think is like one of the forgotten comic book movies. Like
I've never forgot it. I watch it like at least once a year. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and like I think that like people think about sort of the current Marvel movies as sort of like the beginning of this. And I thought Blade was really the first comic movie that, I mean, they had a trilogy, and they,
I love that film.
kind
It
of
was
did
like
all.
the best one out of the early ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Like by far the best one. And the dark, yeah, I thought it was the best one out of the early Marvel movies. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think that's really when it started becoming a little cooler, and then you started seeing all these like people trying to capitalize off of it, and then Fox totally like drove X-Men in the ground and drove Fantastic Four into the ground and all that stuff, and it really took Marvel to like say, hey, we're gonna start making our own films and get people like Joss Whedon and stuff on board, and now it's everywhere. But I still don't think being a nerd is cool. I just don't think so.
I mean, you could just tell by the attendance at Comic-Con. Like I said, in 2009, it was like very small. It was a small portion of the Javits Center. The first time I went, I mean, God, it was the travel convention was there at the same time. So you had Comic-Con and like the travel convention there. So now Comic-Con takes up the entire Javits Center, and it's packed. I mean, I think last year was the biggest con ever. There was like 800,000 people went during that weekend. I mean, that's just unreal. I mean, that many people are going now. So there's like now your casual fans are going. People, obviously, the people who are really into it are going. There's something about it now that the acceptance has grown wider, and people are getting more into it. Now, again, like you said, people are not going to come and strike up conversations. Hey, what do you think of Captain America? And we actually talked a little bit about that, as a group, where I had said, hey, when I meet people, that's not like the first thing I tell them. I wait till they mention something, then I mention it or get involved. I'm not like outing it right away. So, but there's definitely been a growth in interest for this stuff, recently. Like going to Forbidden Planet, and it's always crowded. People are always there. So, yeah, I think things have changed. But yeah, I guess nerds will always be nerds when you're young and in school. That won't be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a certain level, right? Like, there's, oh yeah, Game of Thrones, and then there's, do you think that Jon Snow is like the son of so-and-so and so-and-so? And then someone writes an article about the 5 reasons why, according to the evidence that they just watched over and over on Game of Thrones. Like, like that, and that's cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. I read that article, and in fact, I should never lie about it because I am not ashamed. But at the same time, that's like at another level that, like, I have friends who are not at all involved in any sort of geeky anything, and it would be totally, like, not only impossible, but they would definitely give me this look like, okay, Johanna is doing some weird shit again. Oh, yeah. But Malik has, like, the best story. Not that I'm not pumping it up or anything and making, but you have the best story. This is where this topic came from. So, no pressure.
Oh, no, none felt whatsoever. Absolutely not. So 2011, probably, I think it was the first or second time I went to New York Comic Con. And the Avengers was coming out the following year, so in 2012. So as anybody that went to those cons in 2011 know, during that year of cons, the entire different members of the Avengers cast would go to different cons. So San Diego had some. Obviously, I'm sure if they had the one in Chicago, they had some, so on and so forth. So when it comes to New York, on the bill before Comic-Con, when they send out all the information about who's going to be there, they indicate that who's going to be at Comic-Con. So it's going to always be 2 members of the Avengers team that are coming. So initially, the first information that came out said it was going to be Chris Evans, who Captain America, and Kobe Smulders, who is Agent Hill, Agent Maria Hill, also known from How I Met Your Mother fame. So at this time, I don't know anybody who's going to be there. I have no idea. I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. I just went to con. I just wanted to hang out. So I'm there with my brother-in-law, and he's like, "Hey, let's go and check out this Avengers panel." Well, to go check out this Avengers panel and to go up and get a poster and take pictures with the stars of the thing, you need to go online, and you need to stand online and get a card. And when you get the card, they scan your card. And then after they scan your card, it tells you whether or not you've won so that you can actually go up and see them. So, it was very random. Everybody just got a card, and we go stay on this like long-ass line with about 200 people, and everybody's getting their card scanned. And my brother-in-law gets his card scanned, and his card goes through. He's fine. He's on to the next round. And when you get your card scanned and you go through, they then give you like a program or like a little piece of paper to tell you who's actually there. So he scans through, he's perfectly fine, he's good to go. He gets his little card and he goes on the line to go meet the stars. I go through and I don't get my card. My card doesn't get scanned, mine doesn't go through, I lost. So I'm standing on the side, I go to my brother-in-law, I'm like, damn, I didn't win. So he's telling me about how he's gonna get everything for me, so on and so forth. So about 3 people behind me, there's a lady who gets her card scanned and she gets through. And she's super happy and she's like really, really ecstatic and everything, and she's jumping up and down, and she comes and she walks up to the line where they get their program so they can go up on the line, and she looks at her program, and that's when we all realized that Chris Evans did not make it to Comic-Con. And instead of Chris Evans, we got Clark Gregg. And her reaction, she looks at this thing and she goes, "What the fuck?" Like, she screams out. She throws the shit in the air. She gets so pissed. I mean, she's like, "Fuck this. I'm not doing it. I stood online for 20 fucking minutes and I'm not getting any Chris Evans. I'm getting Coulson." I mean, I actually feel bad because I swear I believe that that Clark Gregg was within earshot of her, because she went off the fucking read rack and she throws the card up in the air. And as the card's flying up in the air, my brother-in-law sees the card, jumps up, grabs it, hands it to me, and he's like, "Malik, just get in line, just go." So I get her card. She jumps off the line. She's screaming and ranting and raving. She turns around. She starts telling all the people on the line that Chris Evans is not there. The line actually literally diminishes from about 200 people to maybe about 80. Okay? Of course, all of the women get off. And so this is how I wound up getting the opportunity to meet Agent Coulson, who at the time I only knew as Agent Coulson, and Kobe Smulders. And I didn't even know Kobe Smulders at the time because I had never watched How I Met Your Mother. And so when I met her, I had no idea who she was. I didn't get a picture with her. And Clark Gregg, love him to death now, because when I met him, right when we're getting ready to take the picture together, he looks at me and he tells me that I should be one of the Avengers because I'm as big a guy I am. I should be one of the Avengers. So that was really cool. So Clark Gregg, if you ever listen to this, thanks a lot, man. You really pumped up a brother for that weekend. And I'm sorry that no one liked to see you. So I'm sorry that nobody wanted to see you, but I'm perfectly fine. You're on my good list. So that's my story. I hope it was efficient.
That's
awesome. It was just as amazing on the second telling as the first. It truly was. It was better.
See, man, if I wasn't online waiting for Maggie Q, I could have maybe witnessed that.
I swear it was like an exodus. I just hope that Clark Gregg did not have to see that happen.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like back then, like now, I think he'd be a huge draw. But I think even though Avengers is a pretty recent movie, I think people forget how much of a risk that movie was. Like, no one had really done anything like that before, and he had such a minor part in those early Marvel movies that I probably wouldn't have been excited to see him at that time. So I can kind of understand her frustration, but
I mean, plus at the time, by then Chris Evans had done a whole bunch of movies. He'd been like a heart. He's obviously a one of those Hollywood sex symbol heartthrobs. Probably had his shirt off a few times in Captain America. I don't remember, but the women were crazy for him just in general. So yeah, I'm sure that they were just clamoring to get their picture taken with the guy. And then when you find out it's not him and it's Clark Gregg instead, it's like,
Yeah, he definitely had his. I recently watched both Captain America movies, and as soon as he gets out of the super soldier program, when he gets out of the little containment unit, the person that I was watching with like gasped because the chiseled frame. So yeah, I need to be like Captain America.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys all know that I had to speed watch most of the Marvel movies. My two favorite ones are definitely Captain America. Although I keep telling everyone like that I will always know Chris Evans as the guy from Snowpiercer because that's the first time I'd ever heard of him.
I can't believe that is the first time you've
It's the
seen Chris
first time
Evans.
I'd ever
I
heard
can't
of
believe
him.
it.
It's the guy from Snowpiercer, which is such a badass movie.
He was the Human Torch.
You know I don't watch those films, or I haven't watched those films. You know that. I've never seen that Fantastic Four business.
Don't bother. They were
Yeah,
bad.
don't bother. I mean, they're horrible movies, but
he was great as the Human Torch. I definitely still say that him and Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm were the two best things of those movies.
Wasn't he also in Not Another Teen Movie?
yes,
Mhm.
he played the
Also
Freddie
don't wanna
Prince,
watch that.
the
Yeah,
Freddie Prince character from She's All That.
the one who wears like
spoofed
the. He had to wear like the whipped cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, if it doesn't involve like global warming or a dystopian future that is horrible, I probably haven't made the effort to see it.
Okay, but did you watch Scott Pilgrim?
Yes, he's so good in Scott
I try to
Pilgrim.
forget that film.
He was in
That's
Scott
why I'm
Pilgrim.
not-
I don't even remember him.
Yeah,
in
he's
Scott
number
Pilgrim.
2. He's the
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
the
really?
second ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Is he? I
Yeah.
don't remember. I
Yeah.
I put that
Aw.
movie out of my mind.
Yeah, that
I love that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I do. I love
Yes.
that movie.
I'm sorry, I'm in disagreement with everybody
so
on the panel.
good.
It won't be
so
it's not the
good.
first time. It won't be the last time. I didn't see what was so special about that movie. Everybody keeps telling me it was great, and I watched it, and I'm like, I don't see it. But you know,
What's
just me.
Chris Evans' best line in Scott Pilgrim?
I have no idea. The credits.
No. His best line. He gets a text message and he walks away from Scott Pilgrim and he reads the text message and he goes, "That's hilarious. Hilarious." And he reads this little text message and you never know what it
I
says.
think I like Chris Evans better in Cellular than I did in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my God, are you kidding me, Joe? Oh, come on.
Come on, man. He was a superhero in that movie without the
Horrible.
super.
Horrible. That's a movie I forget about.
Come on, Jason Statham.
I snuck into that movie and I wanted my money back. That's how bad it is.
It was spiritual money. It
It was just,
sucked your soul.
I wanted my time investment in the form of dollars.
Awesome sauce. I don't really have any exciting con stories. All I know is that I went to a panel with it was Podrick from Game of Thrones and Hodor, and all like they're so fucking stupid. All these girls kept asking him like, "So, how good is Podrick in bed?" And the poor actor is like turning bright red, and he's just like, "Well." Like,
So
and
you
it
should have
was-
gave him his hotel key. Come find out.
Well,
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
that's what's funny. I guess this is where it makes the story crazy. I went into the bathroom after I saw that panel, and there was
Podrick was there.
no. He's so wee too. He's such a wee, like very, like seems very nice, and Hodor's a DJ, and
Nice. Seriously?
yes. You know what?
Yes.
That Friday night of Con, they actually had a Game of Thrones party at BB King's, which is like a venue in Times Square. And it was a Game of Thrones party, and Hodor was DJing, and I was so mad because I didn't realize it until like the day before, so obviously I couldn't get tickets.
Oh
What he was
man.
doing?
I thought you meant you were there. You didn't
Hodor.
realize it.
I would have been so happy if he had just screamed out "Hodor" as he's doing
I
this.
bet there was like a dance mix.
He probably screamed out like Hodor or something like that.
Yes, that was great.
So, I went to the bathroom. There was this extremely obnoxious bleached blonde woman on the phone. Basically, you know how when people talk on the phone, they try to make themselves seem really important? So she's like, well, I got to fly back to LA and blah, 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 blah. And did you get that mock-up and blah, blah. I'm like, wow, girl. Chill. You are in the bathroom at Comic-Con. So, like, I think I looked up Podrick. I did not follow him on Twitter. It's not like that. But I looked up his Twitter feed.
Okay.
And he's so wee. And there was this person who kept harassing him on the Twitter. Like, she's like, so sorry I missed your panel. And he's like, well, ships in the night. And she's like, no, really, I really missed you there. And he's like, ships in the night, like I said. And she kind of just kept going. And then I looked at the icon, and it was the bleached blonde. So...
That is a crazy story.
Well, I do have some. I do have another. I didn't know if it was celebrity encounter that spanned a couple of years. That was actually pretty cool. Not necessarily funny and not as crazy as the other one. But I did get a chance to meet. I met Robert Kirkman, the writer of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
I met him in 2009 or 2010. He's always at con, and he would always like either do a signing or set up a panel or something like that where he would talk about the show, and I mean, not the show, the comic. And so in 2010, I went, and this was literally maybe about a month or 2 months before The Walking Dead premiered on television. And so all that anybody knew about him was the comic. So I came there, I brought a couple of trades to him, and dude, I can't even lie, there were like probably 6 people on the line at most. And so I stopped in. I was like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan of your book." He signed the two books for me, and I was like, "Man, this is not a lot of people here. Am I at the end of the line?" And he was like, "No, it's been pretty slow, And I was like, "Well," I guess not a lot of people know about the book yet. I don't know. And I was like, well, your show's coming out really soon, so by next year you'll be much better off. And
Oh my
God! And he laughed. And he laughed, and he was like, "Thanks a lot, man." And that was it. And so the next year, the following year, I go to con, right? And so now, obviously, the first season of The Walking Dead has happened. We're getting ready to jump into the second season, and now I can't get online to see the guy anymore. He's like so popular, so big, so huge, right? So. I just walked past the panel. I didn't even get a chance to. I couldn't stand on the line. The line was like literally 250, 300 people long. I walked past the panel and I see him and he sees me, and I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he was like, "You were right." And so he remembered me from a year
Are you
previously.
serious?
He remembered me. He was like, "Wow, you were right." And I was like, "That's the coolest shit I've ever seen. You're a cool dude." And I didn't get on the line to get anything. So I didn't even have anything for him to sign at the time. He had signed all my books by then anyway. So just like that acknowledgement that we had that like conversation a year earlier, and he remembered me when he saw me that a year later, after all of the shit that had happened in his life, and I'm sure it was crazy for him.
Malik,
So cool.
That is cool. And what's crazy is that I was there. I was inside that panel discussion when you were walking by.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see you though, but I was there. That was the time I went up and like told him how I thought it was dumb that they could just make these crazy kill shots by like while they're running around shooting their guns, and it's like they're always hitting them in the head. Like I came up to the mic and I said that.
Really?
And I said that the ending of the first season was crap. And then I
There
said that
are
I'm
two
like,
kinds of people in this world, ladies and gentlemen.
the second by that time the second season had started, right?
Yeah, it was actually, that was the first time.
No, they usually start like right after con.
That week, like whatever weekend of Comic-Con is the same weekend that The Walking Dead starts.
Yeah, because I don't know. I had seen like the first episode by then, and I was like, saying that I like the new direction better than the old one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So you're right, and I felt bad about it afterwards. I was like, I didn't have to be so harsh with them. But then I was like, come on, he doesn't give a fuck what I say.
Plus, you can't help it. So.
Plus, I can't help it. Well, that's the thing I was thinking about, Johanna. When you're talking about geeks, when I think of comic book conventions, I think of anime conventions, and when I think of the anime conventions, I think of like, you know, it seems like there's a lot of people that are on the that are aspy, a little bit aspy, or a lot aspy. Like, definitely a large portion of the population of those conventions has some level, like it's on the spectrum somehow. It's weird. I'm not sure why that is, but it's definitely a thing.
Or like, I mean, I think there's probably some element of that, but I think it's also just general social awkwardness, which I have found a lot in the various geek communities of which I have been a part. Yes, including LARP.
I went to an anime prom at one of the conventions, and you know, I didn't dress up, but everybody else there was dressed up, and like it was so cute. They were, you know, there was like these 28-year-old virgins like coming up to other 28-year-old virgins and like asking them to dance, and it was like this ball, and everybody was dressed as like these crazy anime characters. It was pretty cool. It was like a special moment.
That's pretty sweet. Speaking of cosplay, though, thank you for sharing. This is the segment where we talk about our ideal cosplay costumes, and we are going to have a contest, and that whole thing sounds ridiculous, and I'm going to cut it in post. So now is the time that we are going to have our cosplay costume contest. Woohoo!
Hey!
Yes! So, in this contest, you have all been asked to create your ultimate cosplay costume. I don't know if that's redundant. You're going to describe it to everyone, and in the end, I will choose because it's my show. So that probably means Lorenzo is not going to win. Sorry.
Bias.
You've been horrible to me like all show.
You've been horrible to me like all day. So.
She does have a point.
Okay, so who would like to volunteer as tribute to go first?
Me.
All right, Lorenzo.
Okay, so there's like 3 things that you guys know that I love. Radio Lab is one of them, which you should know by now if you're listening to this podcast. And another one is Nintendo. And then the third one is Lone Wolf and Cub. I'm always talking to you guys about Lone Wolf and Cub. So I would definitely do Lone Wolf and Cub. So all it would require would be like the samurai robes, a Datanushi sword, like torso-cutting samurai sword, and a baby carriage. And then I would just have to coax my 15-year-old son to get in the baby carriage. and he would have to cut his hair. Joe, you know the haircut, right?
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Lone Wolf and Cub. I'll tell you later, but go ahead.
Can you describe the kid's haircut in that?
It's like somebody took a rice bowl, put it on top of his head, and cut his hair and went around the rice bowl.
Yeah, so I would get my kid to get that haircut, and then he also has the outfit too, right? Like he
has a little samurai outfit.
Yeah, he has the little samurai outfit, and he's in the cart, and it's got to be like a wooden. It can't be just like a carriage. It's got to be like the wooden cart that they use. Sharif, you know the cart I'm talking about, right? People at home might know Shogun Assassin. Yeah, and so that's my cosplay outfit for sure.
Yeah,
so are you gonna have Marcelo holding a soccer ball and a
sword
and a sword? Okay.
Yeah, maybe, or they'll just be stuck in like the front of the cart.
Okay.
All right, Malik.
Yeah, I actually tried to do that. I tried to convince my wife to let me take my son when he was an infant, to do Lone Wolf and Cub, but she wouldn't let me cut his hair that way. So, so that kind of killed it for me. Because I was realizing nobody was Lone Wolf and Cub, and nobody had a real baby. If anybody was really doing Lone Wolf and Cub, they'd do it with a doll, and it's just
they definitely wouldn't do it with a 15-year-old.
Of course not, because he's technically not a cub anymore, right? So he's like
he'll always be my cub.
Aww.
That's cute. Well, for me, I think that I would love my favorite cosplay. That what I would love to do is I would love to get with about one, two, three, four of my friends, and we would each be the lions from Voltron, and we would come together at the con. We would come together to make Voltron.
That's crazy.
Right.
Nice.
So, like, of course, one's a black lion, red, blue, yellow, and green, right? So, and then you'd come together and be the arms, and of course, somebody has to carry the sword. So I guess whoever is the black lion has to carry the sword. But the most recent con that I went to. There was a guy who it was just one guy who was this huge cyborg. I don't know where he was from, but he was walking on stilts, and he had to have been at least 10 feet tall, and he was walking on stilts throughout the showroom floor. Obviously, when you do cosplay, when you're really doing cosplay, you don't really go up on the floor where all the panels and all of the displays are. You just pretty much stay on the main level, and you just walk up and down that, take pictures and all of that stuff. So that's what he was doing. He was just walking up and down, getting pictures taken with him. So that's what I thought about a Voltron costume that actually brought the characters, brought the five lions together would be awesome. So
Awesome.
that would be mine.
But how would you get them all to stay together? Like, would you be able to walk around as like?
No. When you became Voltron, you just stand there. Like it's kind of like it's kind of like those pyramids when the cheerleaders get one on top of each other or whatever.
Yeah.
You figure out a way. You figure out a way to do that if the people that you're dealing with are nimble enough. I mean, as big as I am, I'm one of the legs. I have to be one of the legs. So
I just want to see you sketch this up for me at some point.
Yes, and put it on the website, agentsoftom.com.
Sure.
Awesome. All right, McKenna, because I know that you've been very excited about this.
Well, wait, because I misunderstood the question when we were talking about it. So, am I supposed to talk about my favorite cosplay, or am I supposed to talk about what I would do?
What you would do?
Okay, so this is different than the answer that I talked to you about earlier.
Metroid.
Yeah, the 3D printed Metroid suit. The Samus, it was amazing. Anyway, no, this is what I would do. What I would do, so I'm one of those people who likes to go to costume contests or like parties and think kind of outside the box in terms of like, you go to like a Disney party and you always see the princesses, but you never see like the villains. So I always go as like Captain Hooker. Or like something like that. Like I always go as like something off the wall. So one year for Halloween, I was actually I was Twister, and what I did is I made a hat out of the game board, like the spinner, and I was wearing I had made like a dress out of the game board, and people were playing all night. Like they would find like the different dots on me, and they would play. So I was. Sorry? What?
I said 6 hours at a time, but it was just an old.
Oh!
Shut up, Lorenzo.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, so I think that it would be fun to do something where I don't know how I would do it. I would figure out, it would be something probably with like iPads or something like that. But I would want to rig it so that I was actually wearing a monitor and could hand out old school like Nintendo 64 game controllers to people. And I would just like stand around, if we were standing in line or we were waiting in line for a panel or something like that, I could just like throw controllers to people and they could just play like Crash, or not Crash, like Mario Kart or something like on me. I just think that would be fun, or something like that. Like I would actually become the Nintendo 64, or like the original PlayStation or something like that. And that way like everybody would want to stand with me and like be friends with me while we were waiting in line for things and stuff like that. I think that would be fun.
That sounds like the perfect porno con outfit. I don't
Oh,
know.
God.
I'm joking.
Bad porno con. Okay.
Bad porno con.
Right, but wouldn't you guys, if you were standing in line
Oh,
and all
yeah.
of a sudden, like, a
An
girl
hour-
turned
2 hours
around
at a time.
and she had a monitor on her and she was like, hey, you want to play Super Smash Bros? And she just hands you a controller and you got to play for an hour while you were waiting in line. Wouldn't you be stoked?
6 hours, McKenna.
Your costume sounds very heavy.
Yes.
I'd work it out. I would.
I know
could
you
figure
would.
it out.
This is
Crash
your.
Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is PlayStation, though, right?
Crash Bandicoot. It would be Crash Bandicoot Warped. First of all, this is the best one. Number 3, and yes, it was for PlayStation.
All right. Well, Sharif, you're gonna have to step it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to step it up to the streets. Okay, so it's funny because I'll have to change mine too because I was thinking of like when you said ultimate costume, I thought you meant like ridiculous, non-realistic costume, but like you guys have been talking about actually realistic stuff.
I don't think we're limited to the realm of
Malik was
reality.
doing Voltron. You can't do that. It's against the laws of physics. It's not going to work.
Yeah. so
Okay,
just- yeah.
because the one that I was suggesting was definitely
Some
against
guys have
all.
got fat enough legs. You could get it done. Sorry.
Okay, because the one I was suggesting was definitely against all laws of physics. So I'll suggest another one.
I want to hear this one, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is I want to cosplay as Unicron, the planet
God.
transformer. So I'd float into space, right? I would get a large enough costume to where I was larger than the Earth, but I would have like an iPhone on me, so I would text everybody and be like, "Look up." Get out of the con and like look up and like I'll be like, that isn't a moon, and then I would just be chilling and that would be my cosplay is Unicron.
You know you're getting shot out of the sky, right?
How are you going to shoot something that's bigger than the planet Earth out of the sky?
They're gonna try. They're gonna try.
If you're coming as Unicron, I'm coming as Rodimus Prime.
Yeah, so that was my original idea.
Oh no, I think that's great.
But that's not fair though. If we get to come up with even crazier ideas.
Well,
Yeah.
Lorenzo, I'm
Take it
sorry
to the
that
next
you,
level.
like, took this like literally or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that seems like a personal problem.
Whatever, Johanna.
Lorenzo's gonna come as the Death Star.
That was my first thought, but it's too obvious, Joe. It's too obvious.
Oh man. All right, Joe.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it much simpler. So I want to bring the world of Marvel and DC together. So what I'm gonna do is I want my costume to be half Deadpool and half Deathstroke. So I'll probably do like the red and black and blue and yellow on each side, and carry they pretty much carry the same weapons, so that won't be too tough. Guns and some swords, and yeah, I mean, I think I would like to do. I think I get a lot of pictures with a lot of poison ivies and cat women and that kind of stuff dressed that way. Black cats.
Well, I think the big challenge is: are you going to do sort of the wisecracking Deadpool personality, or sort of the more serious Deathstroke?
There are a lot of Deadpools out there, man.
Yeah. I always when it comes to Deadpool, I like early Deadpool, where he wasn't so crazy, where he was just crazy enough. Not like he is now, where he's just like, sitting on the toilet saying dumb shit and talking to the audience and stuff. Now, I like the older Deadpool, like early '90s Deadpool.
Okay. Just
like
don't
that
do
one
the
better.
Deadpool from that X-Men Origins movie with his mouth taped shut. Just don't
No,
do that.
that was just ridiculous. And Ryan Reynolds still keeps the job. I mean, granted, it wasn't his fault that movie was horrible, because Deadpool's in
They
it
had
for
his
like 2
mouth
minutes, and then he
Yeah.
becomes that other great Mutant Zero, whatever it was. Yeah.
Technically, he never really becomes Deadpool. He's Mutant Zero. He's Wade Wilson, and then he's Mutant Zero.
Yeah, Mutant Zero. That was the name of it, right? Mutant Zero. Yeah, it was stupid. I hated that movie. But yeah, hopefully Ryan Reynolds' new portrayal of Deadpool is better. I don't have a lot of confidence in it since it's going to be released in February of next year, and a February release date is never a good date. So yeah, I think that's gonna be horrible as well. But
I mean, they want to avoid being around Force Awakenings, though. I think so. They're like, like nothing wants to come out late this year.
It's gonna be rated R. That's the most important part of it. It's going to be rated R.
Wait,
What? Joe?
Yep.
You know, last year's Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, I saw a Deadpool scavenger hunt.
Really?
Yeah, like there were like 24, like 24 Deadpools all running around looking for shit. I don't know what was going on, but they were like all different shapes and sizes, and there were over 24 of them, like all like chasing each other around.
Yeah, that's one thing you can count on Comic-Con is a whole bunch of Deadpools.
But you're putting a new spin on it.
Yeah,
so.
new spin, half and half. You don't see a lot of Deathstrokes, but you see a tons of Deadpools.
Oh, I missed the first half where you were actually both of them. My bad.
Both of them.
Okay.
Deathstroke 70. Nobody wants to be that guy.
Yeah, I thought you were like saying you're gonna be the 25th.
I could be Deathstroke from Arrow.
I mean, I think you could be like a half Will Smith, half Ryan Reynolds. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll share mine, even though I'm obviously not in the running, or else I would win. I was actually like thinking about possibly cosplaying with Aviva, my daughter, this year, and she's really into Groot. I think that's her favorite Guardian. We read the Guardians of the Galaxy book a lot that she has. And then I'm like, she should go as Baby Groot. And I'm like, that would be the cutest thing ever.
in her little pot.
Yeah, in her little pot.
Are you gonna go as Rocket Raccoon?
I don't know who I'd go as. I didn't think that far. I
You
guess
didn't have to because that was like kind of the mother.
Who? Rocket Raccoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like Han and Chewie, except you'd be Rocket and Groot.
But of the little plant, yeah, the squirrel was the the raccoon. I mean, was the.
I'm about to say he whoop your ass for that one.
He looks like a squirrel to me.
I could have beat the hell out of you for saying that.
But he was like the mother of that little plant.
Johanna, that's such a good idea. She would look adorable.
And I have a friend who like collects moss and bark, and I would have to ask her. She's an artist to kind of help me with the concept. But yeah, like I think she's 3. I think she's still a little. She'd be 4 by then, but I think it's still. But she would make a great baby Groot.
Just stand in like a pot that you'd get at like Target. And she just could dance. She would just dance. You just have like a little tape recorder, and she'd just do her little dance. Oh my God, I think that's the best.
I know, right? Okay, so I'm the winner.
Hold on, Johanna. I have a Sharif level one.
Yes.
No, you're done.
Yes.
You're done.
No,
You're
Reef
done.
level.
Sharif level.
I want
All
to
right.
go to Reef level.
Okay, so at Sharif level,
You've got 30 seconds.
I would be Black Widow, and I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd just stay at home.
Again with the women.
You are just fucked up.
No, but I would actually be Scarlett Johansson.
You want to
Again,
be? Yeah, exactly.
I would be Scarlett Johansson, and I would just stay home by myself and spend some quality time.
All right, well, that's great. Let's continue with the costume, with the contests. All right, so we had Lorenzo with Lone Wolf and Cub.
AKA Scarlett Johansson.
Okay, well, you're definitely going to lose with that idea. So Malik, the Lions from Voltron. McKenna, the Nintendo 64. Sharif with, I don't remember his name.
Unicron.
Unicron. And Joe is half Deadpool and half Deathstroke.
That's right.
This is hard.
Go with your heart. Just go with your heart.
Sharif. I like that idea of like this kind of like blanket iPhone message sending. Of like, look up, that isn't totally unrealistic, but yeah. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming here. Let me try that again. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming on, talking about cons. I know, or at least I hope, that McKenna has learned a lot about conventions.
Yes.
So this has all been worth it if we've educated one mind, but hopefully we educate more. So yeah, and to the winner, Joe, Scarlett Johansson, Malik, McKenna, and our special guest, Agent Jackson, we're going to bid adieu.
Good night.
Later.
Peace.
Peace. Yes.
I was trying to think of a cool Natasha quote. I couldn't think of one.
Well, you can't speak it in a Russian accent because she never does.
No, that drives me nuts.
It would be kind of hot. I wonder
What do you
she
mean?
did.
All you have to... Are we going to run? Let's run. Are we going to run away? Let's run. We're not running? That was all she basically said in this movie.
Her portrayal in Avengers 2 is terrible.
God, it was so... Whoever wrote for her, I actually cringed.
Why?
I
Why?
actually thought
Why is it the two girls are hating on Scarlett Johansson?
We're not hating. I think she's a beautiful woman.
No, I thought the depiction of her was way better than Avengers 1, where she was kind of one note.
Her lines, I felt like I was watching a bad rom-com.
I mean, to be fair, they did give her more dimension in Avengers 2.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I liked.
I loved her in... I thought she was great in The Winter Soldier, and in this one I was like, what the hell? Who wrote this?
Yeah, I liked her better than Winter Soldier. I have to agree with Hannah.
Well,
It's
yeah.
just a guy.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, she
this
was great
guy.
in Winter
He's
Soldier.
got a temper issue. Should I just run with
I
it?
Wait.
mean, Avengers 2.
I mean,
really-
she's bad at flirting.
It's a-
like that's basically what
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
Because she's an assassin, so yeah.
She's full of
So,
secrets.
so the woman that gets Google-eyed over Titanic has a problem with
I did not.
romantic version
I did
of
not go to
of
hear
relationship.
1,000 ways.
McKenna,
to-
Avengers 2 is
Whoa, robot voice.
That's how it happened.
I think
You're
DJ
talking like
Hodor is messing with
Unicron.
your voice.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get a Unicron right now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Are you stealing my idea?
This is how we got the theme song, Sharif.
Oh, this is how it happened?
Yeah,
Nice.
well, yeah, we were making fun of Lorenzo, and then Taylor was like, actually.
That's cool. I think he's gonna disconnect. But yeah, guys, I gotta go. But thanks for having me on. Had a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
Yes,
Thanks
you
for
have a
joining
good
us,
night,
Sharif.
Sharif, and
man.
thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
Sure, absolutely, y'all. Peace.
All right,
Later.
bye.
Hey, Joe.
Hey,
I have
McKenna.
I have a question for you. I'm sorry. What is the order again? Now that we skipped yours.
I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to make it up, but Malik is still scheduled for next Thursday.
I thought you were going next week. We just said you just told me just earlier today.
No, we
you
talked
were
about
going
lunch.
next
You
Thursday.
can go. I said maybe I could do mine on that following Sunday.
No, let's do yours. Yours is already built. Let's just do yours next Thursday, and we'll just push mine back a week. That's all. That's fine. I mean, it's fine by me.
All right, so now all of you have to watch it now. Now, McKenna, you need to watch it then.
What? The G Dragon? What is it?
The G Dragon.
The Last Dragon. You've never seen The Last Dragon?
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
I
mean,
bet you Sharif likes The Last Dragon, Johanna.
It's
I'm sure he does. I've started watching it. I only have half an hour left.
dated. It's very dated.
It's dated.
Oh, but I love it for being dated. It's like so absurd, like in a good way, like absurdist. It's wonderful.
It's a period piece by now. By
Now,
it's a period piece.
It is.
now I know you've seen Back to the Future, McKenna, and I know
Yeah.
you've seen
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah, I've seen both of those, and now I just have to watch Dragon Wars, whatever it is.
Did you like the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, I love Breakfast Club.
Okay.
That's what I
But just
watched
so
then.
you guys know, real quick, sneak peek, and then I gotta go. I have chosen my next topic, and I'll start working on it. But I'm doing animation and cartoons. That's what I'm going to be doing mine on, and I actually think I'm going to try to get my uncle to sign on. My uncle is an animator for Pixar.
Oh, nice.
And he was the lead, and he used to work for, oh God, what was the name of the company? He was the lead animator on Ted, and he did like the Hellboy movies, and he did a couple of Disney movies. He was what the hell? It's the
What's his
guy
name?
His name is Jim Brown. He's like, if you watch the special features on TED, like, so if you have the DVD of TED and you watch the like behind the scenes special features, they interview him like a couple times.
Oh, I watch that all the time.
Yeah, he's okay. So, do you remember the part, Malik, where they talk about animating the humping, like when Ted is humping the girl?
Yes.
That's my uncle.
Really?
My uncle's, yeah, the guy who talks about he videotaped himself humping a chair. That's my uncle.
Okay, yeah, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, anyway, so I think I'm going to ask him if he wants to get on and talk about animation, so you guys can ask him about Pixar, you guys can ask him about Tippett. That was the name of the studio. You can ask him about Tippett. He's really good friends with Seth MacFarlane. You can ask him about that stuff and like kind of what he does and how he does it if you guys want.
That'd be great.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
great.
so I'm going to see if I can get him on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Tell him
I'm sure he's a
niece.
busy guy.
Yeah.
So.
It's for his favorite niece. Tell him that.
Yeah, I've been to Pixar. He took me on a tour. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was incredible. Anyway, all right, you guys, I'm gonna sign out.
All right, see you tomorrow.
I've got to go to bed, but good night. Thank you. Good show, Johanna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope
All right.
so.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, great.
Good night.
Good night.
Lorenzo already dropped.
Oh, yeah.
As usual.